So I'll be discussing how it is possible for Democrats to pass the fourth stimulus checks before the end of the year.
Let me just say that you've heard me say it again and again. All of this would not be possible without the great work of our committees, members of the committee, and staffs of the committee, and our distinguished chairs. Three of them are with us in terms of the substance of the legislation. Mr. Neal of Ways and Means, Mr. Colon of Energy and Commerce, and Mr. Scott of, Chairman of Education and Labor. But the person who facilitated this for us again and again was the Chairman of the Rules Committee, Mr. McGovern. Thank you, Mr. McGovern, for bringing us to the floor again and again. And yesterday, in record time, however, good thing that happened. And then I'm honored to be here also with our leadership. This is legislation that creates millions of good-paying jobs, gives tax cuts to the middle class, lowers costs, especially health care costs and child care costs for the middle class, and is paid for 100%. And again, we're very excited about what it does for the children, for the families. And it's, again, if you're a mom, a dad, a family caregiver, or the rest, this bill's for you. If you care about the planet and how we pass it on to our children, this bill's for you. Whether it's about right now their health and their health and well-being, whether it's good-paying jobs for their family and green technology, good union jobs, if it's the security of our country by preventing and hoping to mitigate for conflicts that come from conflict over resources and habitat. It's a national security issue and, of course, a moral issue to pass the planet on in good shape to future generations. So with that, I'm honored to be here with them and with members of our leadership. Mr. Aguilar, I know that Distinguished Chairman Mr. Jeffries had a plane. Thank you, Mr. Aguilar. How many hours were you in the chair last night? Too many, but very well. Excuse me. And then Distinguished Chair of the DCCC, Mr. Maloney. So I know our distinguished chairs will want to take all of your difficult policy questions, but why don't we begin? Yes.
As well as how the next round of stimulus payments may go out to a smaller group of people. Welcome back to the channel, folks. This is all the latest news about the fourth stimulus payments that you have to know. So after the sending of the third stimulus check, personal income rose to $24 billion in March 2021. Since then, the figure has trended downward, and in September hit around $20 billion in total. One of the main factors driving the decrease was the ending of the federal crisis-related unemployment benefit programs, which dropped from an average of 2% of personal income from April to August. As unemployment benefits ended, more than 8 million workers in the country quit their jobs, providing new evidence that the benefits are not keeping people from re-entering the workforce. Still, nearly 30% of American adults had trouble paying usual household expenses as of early October, as the harm of the economy and livelihoods from the crisis continues. So with prices up across the economy and the holiday season approaching, many people are hoping that Congress will pass another round of stimulus payments in December. A fourth stimulus check could be included in the Build Back Better Act, and the House of Representatives has already approved that they would extend the current structure of the child tax credit for another year. This provides some relief to families. And changes to the value and distribution of the child tax credit were made under the American Rescue Plan. These alterations increased eligibility to 24 million children, and in July, the IRS began distributing monthly payments. For each child under 6, families received $300, and for those between 6 and 17, a $250 payment is made. The last payment in 2021 will be made on December 15th, and the remaining value of the credit will be paid when families file their taxes in the spring. Now, studies of the initial payments, which began in July, have reduced hardship for families with children, lifting 3 million children out of poverty, and researchers with the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities have also found that the vast majority of parents with low incomes are spending their child tax credit payments on basic needs, like food, housing, and utility bills, and as well as education. This can help give their children a stronger start in life. And although the extension included the Build Back Better Act is only for 1 year, and not until 2025, as the White House had called for the change making the tax provision fully refundable would become permanent. And this will be a boost for low-income families who previously couldn't begin to claim the credit unless they had earned income over $2,500 prior to the changes. Now Biden House passed $1.8 trillion Build Back Better bill promises to expand the social safety net for the poor. But its mostly costly provision is a tax cut for the wealthy, leaving divisions among Democrats. And many Democrats celebrated Friday by passing a historic bill. It now heads to the Senate, where the controversial state and local tax is going to take place. In the bill's current form, taxpayers could deduct up to $80,000 in state and local taxes from the federal tax bill, up from the $10,000 cap that's put in place as part of the former president's tax cuts. And while most House progressives voted for the bill's tax cut, some Democrats voted no. And according to the Nonpartisan Tax Policy Center, middle-income households will get a tax break averaging $20, as only 10% of all filers even itemize their deductions. Nancy Pelosi told reporters during her weekly press conference, as a supporter of that particular measure in the bill, it's not about tax cuts for the wealthy people, it's about services for the American people. After the bill's passing, Pelosi said, "We'll see where we need to. Shall we say reconcile our differences?" Thank you again for your support, everybody. If you have any more questions about the fourth stimulus check, leave them in the comments below.
Well, when Democrats lose Larry Summers and Steve Ratner, you know they're in a bad spot when it comes to inflation. But they've said what is very obvious to anybody who's been paying attention, as Senator Thune and others have said, when you have this much money chasing limited goods and services, it invariably is going to drive up the cost. And we've heard the statistics before. Obviously, with Thanksgiving right around the edge, we're thinking about our usual families gathering around the table and enjoying a great meal. But things like common purchases like eggs are up 12%. And it'll also, for those who are traveling by car or truck or other vehicle, it's going to cost a lot more at the pump. Gas prices are up 60% from last year. And the fact of the matter is that no one's wages are growing at that rate. And so what's happening, effectively, their purchasing power, or people who are on limited income or fixed incomes, or who are not enjoying pay raises at that rate, which nobody is, it's a silent tax on consumers. And the best thing that the administration could do is to stop this reckless spending that they are proposing in the Build Back Better bill, otherwise known as the reckless tax and spending spree. That would be the single most effective thing to keep inflation from eating up consumers' income and raising prices on commodities.